Well, hello everyone. My name is Dan James, and welcome to the Trim the Wick Leadership Academy. I am so glad that you are here with me today. We are going to learn so much about what it becomes to be a good leader because, everyone's a leader, everyone's being looked at, everyone's being followed. But you know what? There are good leaders and there are bad leaders. And John Maxwell, great guy, years and years ago, about 70 years ago, well, he's only 70 years old, but a long time ago, he came to this understanding that everything rises and falls with leaders, that leadership really defines how things happen and how things go and how things work. And with good leadership, things are good. With bad leadership, things are very bad. And I want to start off by telling you a story. This is a thing where I worked with a bunch of people, and I was the leader. I was the one that was in charge. But I didn't quite understand. I was young, didn't quite understand exactly what that meant. I thought that meant I was a Pied Piper. So I made a lot of noise. I did a lot of stuff. I did a lot of things, and everyone was supposed to just come around underneath me. What happened was our organization grew quite quickly. And then it got to about 50 people or so, volunteers and workers and different things. And then people started falling away. People started drifting off. People started leaving. And I was like, what's going on? What's the problem? The problem is that I was not an effective leader reproducing more leaders. I was not an effective leader in making those underneath me better. So as John says, there's a law out there called the law of the lid. And it basically is that if you're a 5 leader, then everyone under you is going to be a 4. So the only way that you're going to increase those under you is that you have to increase yourself. I need to be a 6, a 7, or an 8. So then those who are underneath me will reach me and be a 7, an 8, and then they'll be able to go off and do their own things. So this is what we're all about. We want to train you to become a better leader. We want to help you in your personal discipline and your personal growth. And we want to help you with your communication to those that you know and you love so that you can have a better life and be more of a positive influence in people's life. Listen, we should every day want to be adding value to people's lives. I mean, that is a purpose and a goal in my life, is to go out and just add value to people, to encourage them, to help them be better at what they're doing and in their life. So today, our simple lesson today is I'm going to talk about 5 rules, 5 laws, 5 things, 5 keys, whatever you want to call them. These are going to be 5 rules or 5 things that leaders need to do to reproduce themselves and to multiply other leaders and to help other leaders grow. Now, granted, these are 5 simple things that you're going to get here just in a quick lesson. These are not the most extensive list of all things, but this is really going to help you out if you're a new young leader, or if you're a leader who's frustrated because it feels like all you're doing is all the work and no one comes along and helps you. No one comes along and stands and builds up with you. So this is going to be a good lesson for you. It's going to just take a few minutes to learn these 5 keys, rules, laws, whatever you want to call them, to help multiply the leaders around you. Now, the first thing is that a leader must have compassion for those that he is leading. So here's the thing. I've been in business long enough. I've worked in volunteer situations long enough, and I've heard this phrase over and over. Working in this company would be better if we didn't have all these people around. Doing what I'm doing and leading how I'm leading would be so much easier if I didn't have all these followers that were following me around, getting in my way. And on a one side, that's funny because it's like, yeah, that's kind of the purpose of what you're doing, is to lead other people. And if they're not there, you're just kind of walking alone in the desert. So the idea is that we need to have compassion for those who are leading. In other words, we need to make sure that they are getting better. See, as leaders, a lot of times we feel like all we do is we just have to mimic. We just have to show them and go, see, this is how you do it. And that makes them better. Or we're supposed to preach at them and talk to them and say, listen, if you do X, Y, Z, this is going to make you better. No, we need to have compassion on them And we need to make sure that we're meeting them to help them get better. In other words, we're looking for opportunities to grow them. We're looking for opportunities to expand what they know, not just in knowledge, but in ability, and be able to help them as they work through their problems, as they work through those things that they need to be doing. One of the things that I used to work at a restaurant, fast food restaurant, and one of the things that I made sure that I did is that I was a master of every position. So I would work everything. I mean, you would see me in there during lunch rush hour, not being the manager sitting in my office on my computer. I would be out on the floor doing different things. I would be talking to the guests. I'd be working the register even, or standing right there helping fill orders and all these things. And the reason why is because I wanted to be there right next to the person that I was leading. I wanted to be there to help see how they were doing things and how to build them up, how to, number one, encourage them. But it also gave me a desire for them to better them, because I wasn't separated from them. I was with them. I was working with them. I was right alongside them. I had a compassion for them to get better. And I believe as a leader, that's one of the most important things, is that you've got to start looking at the people you're leading and say, you know what? I want to make you better. I'm not just trying to meet my quota. I'm not just trying to get the plaque on the wall with my name. I'm not just trying to get more money. I want you to be better at what you're doing and who you are as a person. We need to have compassion for them. I wrote down some things that I do want to just mention. We need to make sure that we're helping them grow. We've got to have patience. We've got to make sure that if they make mistakes, we don't immediately just chop them off at the knees. We got to make sure that we're not using condescending language, or that we're always building them up. We got to make sure that we correct them. A lot of times I've been in places where the leaders are just allowing the workers just to do whatever they want. And there is no correction, no positive correction. There might be negative complaining of, oh, they don't do this way, or they don't. How about positive correction? And the last thing is just be positive, just be encouraging, just help them out. So that's the first thing. Have compassion for the people. Number two, as a leader, must be willing to build up the strengths of those around them and diminish their weaknesses. Now, I think about this with a situation. I love football. And if you're not a big football player or football fan, I'm going to explain real quick. The quarterback is the most important person on the field when it comes to the offense. You got to have a great quarterback. Here's the thing. There are many different types of quarterbacks. There are running quarterbacks. There are throwing quarterbacks. There are drop back passing quarterbacks. There are option quarterbacks. There are all these different types of quarterbacks. Well, the situation is a lot of time a quarterback will go to a team that's not suited for him. And the coach, the main leader, is going, listen, I need a running quarterback. I need a quarterback that's going to be able to move all over the field. But this quarterback is not a running quarterback. This quarterback is a drop back passing quarterback. He's one that's just going to sit back there and throw the ball. He can't run. He doesn't run. He doesn't like to run. So now you have a situation where a coach is trying to force a player to do something that's not his strengths. You're magnifying the weakness of that player. So what you need to do is you need to focus on what is that player's strengths. So if I need a running quarterback, if I'm looking for someone who's a running quarterback, I need to find a running quarterback who that is his strengths. If I have a quarterback in a situation where he needs him to run, but he can't, I need to change then the offense around him so that he can fit in that offense in his strengths. Now, how do we do this in the business place? Okay. You have someone who's a great communicator. You have someone who is able to basically pick up a piece of paper, look over it, and come out and spit it out with great understanding. Okay. But he's not a writer. He's not a technical person. He's not someone who's going to sit down and crunch it spot by spot by spot. So what you need to do is you need to find that person that's the great communicator, team him up with that technical person if you need to write a manual. So you got this person who can speak, and then you have the person who can write the technical. The speaking person is seeing everything, can explain everything, can break it down, but he's not going to be able to write it down. He's not going to be able to go into all of the different nuances. So when you put those two team members together on a team, you're now building both of their strengths, because now the person who's the great communicator is communicating what's going on. The person who's the technical person is being able to take it and put it down. And now guess what you have? You have a great manual, because you now have two people who are working strong, are working in their strengths to produce the work that needs to be done. Okay? So there's so many ways that this can break out and this can work out. But as leaders, we need to make sure that we're focusing on the strengths that people have and diminishing their weaknesses. Now, listen, there are there's going to be times when, you're going to have to force someone a little bit through their weakness. You're going to have to work them through it. But that means you need to help them. You need to make an environment around them. And here's the situation that I, want to say is that, go back to our quarterback situation. So our team is a team that has a drop back passer, someone who does not run. But we're going against a defense. Their strength is coming after the quarterback. So now if we had a running quarterback, we would make a plan to allow our quarterback to run around so that he could run away from those guys. But because our guy can't run, we need to make an offense that's going to block for him, going to protect him, so that he can do what he does best and his strengths. And that's really what we need to do as leaders in the business world. We've got to be able to look at the weaknesses that people have and go, okay, I'm not going to criticize them for their weakness. I'm not going to beat them down because of their weakness. What can I do to build an environment around them so that the weakness doesn't hurt them as much, so that they're able to fully use their strengths and be able to step out in their strength? So that's number 2. Number 3, a leader must take time to teach and train. I've been in many different business situations with many different leaders. And I think for me personally, one of the worst leaders is just go do it. Go figure it out. No, I don't learn anything there. All I do is fail over and over again. I don't progress. And then I go in and start exhibiting bad habits because I don't know what I'm doing. A good leader needs to teach those. He needs to be able to sit down and explain things out. Sit down and be able to go, this is what you need to do. This is how you need to do it. And this is how your strength, because we were just making observant of their strengths, this is how your strength fits this situation. So we need to be able, as a good leader, to teach and be able to help them learn and understand, because there's nothing worse, I know, and I'm sure you know, to be sitting in front of a situation, not having any idea, but knowing that you've got to do something about it. You've got to fix it. You got to make it happen, and you have no idea how to do that. Number 4, a leader must be willing to challenge those he's leading. Now, this is a situation where it gets a little bit dicey, because you've got to know when to do the challenge. You've got to know when to be able to push that person. I had a situation where I was working with a company and I came up with an idea. I was like, well, let's do something like this. We kind of been complaining about some things here in the office. Let's come up with this idea. So I kind of put up an idea and I went to my supervisor and I said, listen, here's my idea. What do you think? And she goes, it's great. You do it. It's great. You put it together. It's great. It's on you. And that scared me, because I had never done this before. I had never done this type of business plan. I've never done something so large before that was going to require multiple different things. But she challenged me. Now, here's the beauty of it. She challenged me and didn't just say, there you go. No, she challenged me and then she was with me every step of the way. She didn't stand over my shoulder, but she encouraged me. Hey, let's check in with this. Hey, let's set a deadline on this. Hey, let's do this. Hey, you need to talk to this person. You need to talk to this area. Hey, this is whatever. Okay, I love what you're saying here. Do this. Hey, do that. And she really guided me, really allowed me to step into my own. But it started with that challenge of you do it. You get out there. You put your foot in the water. So many times I know in the business world, we come up with ideas and someone goes, well, I'll just take that and run with it. And there's no challenge, or you're told, oh, it's a stupid idea. No, good leaders challenge. A good leader challenges those that they're leading to help them, to build them up, to get them going in the right direction. Because listen, it's no good to always be that under person, knowing that you have more potential. So help those who have more potential. Build them up, find those people, and then challenge them. If someone comes to you with an idea, and it's a good idea, challenge them. Okay. So as a good leader, we've got to challenge those that we lead. And the fifth thing is, as a good leader, we need to let them go. In other words, we need to let them do it. We need to let them take the responsibility. We need to let them take the charge. We need to let them also take all of the glory and to build them up. One of the things in this whole process is that I put together this business plan. I was challenged by my supervisor and I was ready to just go, here you go. Here's the report. Here's everything you need to go into that boardroom and tell the vice president what they need to hear to get this done. And what she said is that, no, you did all the work. I'm going to let you go. You do it. And I was scared, but you know what? It taught me so much as a leader. It elevated me so much to be able to take it and run with it. So, a couple things here. As a leader, 5 things I just want you to know to multiply the leaders around you. Number 1, have compassion for them. Number 2, bring out their strengths, diminish their weaknesses. Number 3, teach them, help them learn, help them understand what they're doing and what they're going through. Number 4, challenge them. When it's time, make sure that they're growing and challenge them. And the 5th one is to make sure that you take the hands off and allow them to do what they need to do. Guys, I hope this is a great message for you. I hope this encourages you to become a better leader. Looking forward to sharing with you some more things in the future here on the Trim the Wick Leadership Academy webpage and YouTube page. And we are so glad that you are with us and looking forward to seeing you again real soon. All right. Love you. Bye-bye.